Now, we've got something slightly different for you. We're very, very lucky and privileged and pleased to have with us via link to his mansion in LA, the fabulous Gander Fowl, the director of the new movie that's out shortly called Honkening. So here we are, I'm going to welcome him now. Hello, Gander, how are you, sir?
Hello, Keith.
Good, lovely to see you. I see you're on set at the moment. How's it going with your current film?
There's not much I can say really. It's
Okay.
all a bit under wraps this one, but
Okay.
yeah, it's going well. It's going well. I mean,
Good.
probably tell from the background, it's another one set in the UK, like the Honkening.
Yeah, cool.
Um,
Well, I
but
think we should
that's
probably.
really all I can tell you.
Okay, well, that's fine. Well, I think we should probably. We're obviously here to talk about the Honkening, which is coming out shortly. So I think we should probably watch the trailer and then we can talk about it after that. So, Gander, just bear with me. We'll show the trailer now.
Yes, of course.
Just when you thought it was safe to go back to the duck pond. Something is coming from the lake, and it isn't Cthulhu.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper.
This summer, from the studio that brought you Generic Hero Cop 6 and the producers of Dino Nado, comes the latest in an infamous horror franchise. The Honkening IV. Duck, Duck, Goose.
Sorry, that was a bit frightening there. Sorry, excuse me. Oh well, that looks amazing. That looks quite incredible. Very very strong movie there. Probably as strong as your previous movies, I think. Now tell us a little bit about the movie. So it's clearly some kind of horror movie. Quite frightening, I gather.
Well, do you see the Honkening IV is it's a sequel, of course, to the other three movies, but with the 10-year gap, it seemed right to take it in a completely different direction.
Well, that does make sense.
So we're seeing a lot more of a sort of an intimate movie with a much smaller group of protagonists.
So sort of like an ensemble movie then.
Yes.
So you've got your best ducks together to perform this piece.
Yeah. I mean, you could say that. Yes.
It's almost like you've put them in a row, I would say.
Not so much a row. I mean,
No?
geese generally don't like standing in a row.
No, I suppose not.
It was a bit of a problem during filming, to be honest.
Can they be a bit diva-ish?
Yes. I mean, the one in particular. Yeah. I mean, I can't name any names. I don't like to sort of out any of my stars, but
I mean, I've heard. I think we can probably say, because it's been in the papers, it's been everywhere, that your leading man, Goosey Gander. I mean, he's been all over town. Apparently, he was found in the ladies' chamber, I hear.
I wouldn't know about that. I mean, what he does outside of studio hours isn't really any of my business. As long as he turns up to set and still eats his seed, it's fine.
Very diplomatic, very diplomatic. I can understand that. I mean, you're probably going to want to work with him on further movies, I'm sure. So tell me a little about, was there much trouble in makeup? I think there was several hours of makeup required.
Yes, yeah. I mean, obviously, horror movies are notorious for sort of the gore effects and that, and trying to do that to a star that can only communicate by honking at you is complex.
Yes, yes. I imagine there were quite some skills there in terms of geese wrangling. So I'm hats off to the geese wranglers in that movie. Now, do you really think this movie needed a sequel? I mean, the previous three, let us say, were not the most popular movies in the world. You know.
Yeah. I mean, this is. I mean, It's obviously being appreciated by the film world a lot more, certainly, than the Honkening 3D, because the Honkening 3D never even made it to cinemas. It was a straight to Blu-ray release. This movie is being shown in some cinemas. It's as I say, it's taking the story in a very different direction without wanting to have spoilers.
Yeah, so you'd say it was probably more of an art house movie, really.
Yes, I think that would be fair to say.
Good. Well, I wish you every luck with this movie. It's got all the ingredients of a great movie. I mean, I can see that. I see that immediately from the trailer. And my best of luck to you. And I hope your current movie goes really well. And I look forward to hearing more about that in the future.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gander. And now we're going to have a scientific paper presented by Professor Susie Roberts.
Oh, hello. I'm here to present a scientific paper for Hopeless Maine on the psychotomimetic properties of Pulvis Felis. Welcome, fellow members of the Hopeless Maine Scientific Society, invited guests and interested parties. Lovely to see you all here. Professor Swenson sends his apologies, but he's still researching the giant bindweed problem and is a bit tied up with that. For those of you who don't know me, I am Professor Roberts, and I'm here today to present my landmark scientific paper on the psychotomimetic properties of Pulvis Felis, or dust cat in common parlance. Oh, and for the non-scientists here, this paper catalogues the hallucinogenic properties of the creature. Copies of this entire 750-page paper will be available to you after this presentation, but for now, I will present you with a summary of my findings. I feel I should apologise for the length of time this research has taken. Firstly, it has not been easy, and the nature of the research has meant that sometimes days were lost due to the adverse effects of experimentation. And secondly, there was the unfortunate fire that destroyed a significant section of our facilities. I do hope my esteemed colleague, Professor Lupin, has now given up his obsession with the combustibility of lowlands marsh gas. I think that theory has now been proved beyond a shadow of a doubt. It has long been known that dust cats possess an unusual set of qualities, although within the context of Hopeless Maine, it is difficult to use the term unusual with any confidence. Some of these qualities are fairly well known and frankly not worth my time investigating. However, I was intrigued by the notion that they may have psychotropic or mind-expending properties, as reported in a somewhat sensational article in Vendetta 2 years ago. As you know, I have somewhat of a reputation in this area, based entirely on solid scientific research. Regrettably, my work has not always been appreciated outside the scientific society, and unhelpful headlines like drug-crazed professor on naked rampage through town completely misrepresent the serious nature of these studies. I see my mission as identifying such compounds, substances or other materials that could benefit the people of hopeless Maine by providing relief from the day-to-day stress of living on this challenging island. Out-of-the-body experiences, drug-induced dreams, numbness, even catatonic states could all provide relief from the physical and mental horrors the inhabitants experience every single day. Experimenting with dust cats presents a variety of problems. They come and go as they please. Their semi-ethereal nature means that keeping them contained is challenging, and when you have several together, it's almost impossible to hurt them. Whilst it is true they can be enticed by fast-moving feathers or small piles of dust, the most effective method appears to be waving a beam of light around the room. This, combined with an empty box with a light residue of dust, is how I managed to capture the creatures, whereupon they were transferred to a glass box of considerable size for the main experiments. The hallucinogenic properties of Pulvis Felis are said to be transmitted by touch. So naturally, this was the area of observation I concentrated on. I introduced small animals into the dust cat's direct environment. I started with small rodents, or more specifically, mice. This was not entirely successful, as the dust cat would simply chase the mouse around the glass box until the mouse expired of exhaustion or shock. After the 53rd experiment, I decided on a different approach might be required. A variety of small animals were introduced. Frogs, clutch brats, wink eyes, I even tried a spoon walker. An interesting instance, that one. They just sat at opposite ends of the box and seemed to be having some sort of soundless conversation. But at no point was any hallucinogenic activity observed. With nothing to show for many weeks of experiments, I decided a drastic new set of experiments was called for. I started entering the box myself and interacting with the dust cat. Now this may seem foolhardy to you, but no great discovery has ever been made without some sort of sacrifice, often a human sacrifice. Over the next few days, I would enter the box and try different experiments, holding the dust cat, breathing the air near the dust cat, offering it dust, and stroking the dust cat. There were scant results, except for a notable increase in sneezing on my part. In the library of Scientific Society, there are a number of documents, books and journals collected from shipwrecks over the years, and in one of them there was a description of a toad which natives would capture and then lick to give them visions and talk with their ancestors. Was this the answer I was seeking? I resolved to try licking the dust cat that very day, and what a momentous day it turned out to be. As I held the subject gingerly in my arms, I had no inkling of the experience that was to follow. I leaned down, extended my tongue, and I licked the back of the dust cat. Science is not often stuck for words to describe things, but I cannot quantify in any meaningful way what happened next. You will observe within the paper, pages 609 to 703 are dedicated to documenting that experience. You may perceive them as child's drawings or indecipherable scrawls or possibly pornographic graffiti. But it is what I experienced. Incidentally, pages 613 to 621, 656, 674 to 683 are intentionally blank, as that is exactly what I experienced at that point in the experiment. It was several days before colleagues found me in an emancipated state and forcibly dragged me out of that box of delights, incidentally letting the dust cat I had jokingly named Pandora out of the box. Apparently, some of the town's individuals have since claimed to have spoken with Pandora. I cannot emphasise what a huge leap in scientific understanding this represents, so much so that I am determined to go back into the box with a new specimen and repeat the experiment as soon as possible. And I would like you all to join me. I have all the necessary forms here.
Professor Roberts! Professor Roberts!
What?
It's time for your meal now, Professor Roberts!
No, don't you see? I'm presenting my paper to this eminent audience.
Susie, we've talked about this before. There is no one out there. You are in your room, on your own.
Oh, no,
Come on now, Professor. Look, we even have some new pills for you to take today.
But, oh, all right then. I suppose so. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but I have to go. But you will try licking dust cats, won't you?
That was the wonderful Susie Roberts there, reading a scientific paper that she has put together. Wonderful thing, wonderfully read. Susie, of course, is part of the Ominous Folk of Hopeless Maine, so you would have seen her at the beginning when we played Demon Devices, and you will see her again a bit later singing with the rest of us.